So here we are in our new bagel shop. Bloop. Money. Oh, damn, I forgot about bundle. Wow, that was fast. So a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Oops. Bagel. It has a name and it has a price, and that's an integer. Questions, comments, concerns? Yeah.
So just why is it that you cannot have the name of the Rails project and the name of the model? Like, is there a lot of times where you want that? Like, you want like a blog model and blog projects?
I think it's blog, but then for your model, you're not gonna have a blog model. Does that make sense? All right, cool. What happens is like it uses certain keywords for things, and if they overlap exactly, it could mess up some of the auto magic. Right? What else do we need? That's it? So what? A little bit of this? Cool. Let me go make some, yeah? Bagale. Create. What does it need? Name. Onion. Everyone's favorite. And it's $1. Price. Cool. Nice. Yeah? So let's get into it. So remember, resource does what for us? That's right. It builds the controller, right? It has just the folder, and it builds the model for us. It also does the initial migration based on what we passed in, and it will give us the resources, right? Which gives us what?
All the routes.
Gives us all the routes, right? How can we check that? Cool. Yeah. So, money. All right, let's go to the bagel controller. So, what do we need here? Right? Yes. Okay. You're all over it, like a bum on a ham sandwich. Oh, dang it. Is it like this? Dang it. I'm not gonna play this. I'm not gonna play this game. Ah, you know what? I know how to do this. What is it? New. Oh, sorry. Ugh. Update. And then what?
Destroy. Destroy, not delete. Destroy, not delete.
Heard you.
And then you want to put parameters.
Nice. So, what do we already know about what is about to go down, right? We probably already know that, okay, you know what? I don't want to jump too far ahead. So, what do we need? Add bagels equals, cool. And what's the show? How many times are we going to need this? Right? And what do we want to call this? Find bagel? Is it like this? I can't actually remember. Is it like this? What do we need it? Show, edit. Yes, Charlie. There's so many colons. Yeah?
Yeah, before action.
Clown. I honestly, 100%, do not remember. I'm just going to look it up. I just know what I need to do. Is anyone sure about? We're going to test.
So what is the? Do we have to? Why don't we have to put in code there, like, to find the bagel? Or we do?
Right. So we have something called def find bagel, and we're going to drop in at bagel equal. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. So, show is good. Yeah, what else do we need? Cool. What's this?
The dot save. That's right, dot save.
Let's make these strong params, right?
What's the exact point of the strong params? Is it just about security?
One second. There's a lot happening right now. What is it again? Name? So far, have I lost anyone? Okay. Raise your hand if you understand everything that has happened so far in regards to strong params and fine bagel. I need to see this because I need to help you, right, for Friday. Remember, if you don't participate now, I can't help you. Yeah? I'm sure it's fine.
Okay, so in terms of like the before action thing, like I've been doing it where I don't know what I'm doing, where I basically just make your fine bagel method and then just put it in all my
Hell yeah.
methods. Is that okay?
Hell yeah. So we have show, right? If I didn't want show and I wanted to write more code for no reason, I can do this.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
I guess I should
Stop doing that.
Stop doing it.
Because there's a better way.
Okay.
Not that it won't work. It's just better. Yeah? Cool. Do you understand why it's better?
I have to look up what before. I don't understand before action. I'll just look it up.
So before action just means that before I do any of these actions, I want to execute this method. So in here, I'm doing bagel params. In edit, I'm doing bagel params. Into update and destroy, I'm doing bagel params. So this is like just a refactoring. Yeah? Of course. Good question. And
I think it should be find bagel equals bagel.create.
in the create, it should be at bagel equal bagel.create. Noise. Charlie?
The opposite of your expression. So you have show up at the top of the before action.
Yeah.
I was messing around yesterday and I took out the def show end part, and it did work without that. Should we leave that there in case we want to do other things?
Oh, you mean yes. So what you're saying is if this is blasted, it'll still work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It will still work. However, you should leave it in.
Should leave it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would, to that, I mean, probably the reason you want to see can show information about the bagel on the show page, right?
Yes and no. You should keep it in because you'll want to test at some point. Right? And if you don't, you will also include other things within your show aside from basic CRUD functionality. So for the assessment, if it works, it works. But if you can explain to me what's happening under the hood, I'm gonna be like, cool. But in real life and production, you're gonna have way more than literally just at bagel. You can have so much more information there. So the show will just naturally exist in that way. So it's just get used to seeing it. But yeah, that was a good one.
My actual question was about the strong params. Like, what is it just, it's a security measure, right? Like,
Yes.
It's just a security measure to make sure that you can't.
Strong params allows you to whitelist the exact attributes that you want. Because remember, right now you don't know JavaScript. However, what you saw Brooke do with a few lines of code, you can in fact inject certain things, and then you can make submissions. Do you remember when I talked about SQL injection, where you can just like literally in the input field put a colon and then put drop table, and it will run that for you? In the same way that if you don't allow certain things, it will automatically block them. So I know for a fact, because I'm building the app, that I only want these two to come through as a form of security. Okay, so after all that, right, up until create, please just do me a favor, right? I know your hands are really heavy, but can you just raise them if you understood everything that just happened? Awesome, cool, thanks. So now we need to talk about what's going on over here, right? In terms of like the create. So let us see what's going on. Let's do the new. And let's do the edit. All right. So what's up with new? What do I need? Form for what? Yeah? And what does this do? Okay. I do want it for the form because the form will actually render. Right? Remember, we're in HTML, so I want the form to actually render. Jordan?
For the first line too?
Correct, because I want the form to actually render. Yep. Any questions? Because if I don't have the form for, right, this won't render, right, and what I'll get is literally an uncommented, I will get this. I will wind up getting just input tags on my page. And the browser's going to be like, okay, weird. You know what I'm saying? So I want the form to show up. So I need to have the equal sign for the form, yeah? So what do I need here? Text field, right? And what is this? Cool. What else do I need? Number field? And what is this? Does the submit need to be seen?
Yes.
You guys are all over it. Cool. So, let's test. Yay! I'm on Rails. And what do we do? Bagels? You guys lied to me. You lied to me. This is wrong.
Yeah, they're calling us speed before finding.
Mm-hmm. I'm a terrible human being. And me so sorry. Again, lies. All right, what is this? Missing template. Oh yeah, that, of course. I'm missing a template because I don't have the index page. Bam. Cool. All right, so my new works. Yeah? So what is this first one? Poppy. And it is $10. It's an expensive bagel, right? So what happens? Huh? What happens when I hit create?
Those parameters go into the add bagel, create bagel.
It goes right here. And then what will happen? So nothing is happening here, right? Nothing follows, right? So let me save it. So if I hit create bagel, it's nothing followed. Nothing actually happened. Why? However, if I I think this is 20. Nice. Cool. And then you're in the bagel shop, right? If I were to go to the console and tell me all the bagels, I should have a $10 Poppy bagel. So, again, from a user point of view, this is why we have to redirect. And where do we want to redirect to? Right? If I don't tell it where to go, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be like, all right, make the new bagel. Cool, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so redirect to that bagel. I know that's math, I know that's shorthand. And that's the object of bagel, so that's going to go to putting
this will go to the show page, right? This is the bagel path, all right? And again, the bagel path is going to go to bagels ID. So if I do bagel path and pass it a bagel, it will go to where? Boop, 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 boop. Show. Cool? I have to check, otherwise, you know what I'm saying? Do me a solid. Did you get that?
Yes.
The bagel path, yeah? Good? Cool. So, if I'm lazy, which I am, you could do either one, right? Both will work. This is how I'm going to grade. So, cool. So now we're back at new, and we've recreated this redirect to this show page, all right? This show page should exist. So if I make a new bagel, right, like egg, which is a pretty good one, and that's free, it should. Oh, the show doesn't exist. Embarrassing. A little bit show, right? A little bit of Monica. All right, bagel dot name. All right, that's all we really need. You know what? Let's also hit that price. All right, cool. So I said show egg 0 ego. Right? Hey, right? Cool. So now what I want to get into is I want to get into validations. So why would we want to validate something? Because this is what our users look like. Where's this clown? Right? This is what they look like. It's like, hey, can you drink water? It's like, you know, you would think that some people like know what they're doing inherently, but it's not always the case. So.
It's so funny every time. You can't drink the water.
Yes, that's the joke. So, sorry. Basically, what's happening here is we have to protect our database, right? So, certain things exist, right? Let's just build the index just for funsies, right? Now, we talked about what is happening here. Bagels, indexors, right? Cool, sure. Now we need, right, all the bagels, right? Bag, like a boss. Cool. Probably don't want that to show, right? And now, you know what? Let's do it right. Just do it right. Yeah, let's do it right. Bloop, bloop. All right, cool. So now I want these li tags. Each one of these. Does everyone know what I'm doing when I do the ul and the li? All right, raise your hand if you don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So it comes with basic understanding of HTML, but this is an unordered list. And for each of the bagels, I'm going to create a new list item to be nested under this unordered list so that every one of my bagels will now be an unordered list item. Right? Remember what happens with bagels.each? Right? I can make a new list item and I can put new item right der. So, all right, let's do it. I can go to my index. And now I have 3 items. So it's going to iterate through each, and it's going to create an li tag. Right? Look, my index, h1. Now, I'm going to create 3 li tags under this unordered list. Right? Because I have 3 bagels. So, therefore, I can then interpolate. Okay, that was weird. Bag.new.name. Sorry. That way, each one of the list items becomes a bagel name. Cool. So, we can, in fact, do a link to, right? And what is the first thing link to does? it just creates the name, right? This is what's going to display. And the second thing is going to be what? What it displays to, right? So I can do bagel path and pass it the bag, right? Which again is the object. Or I can just go straight to that bag. Go. Ugh. Yeah, I can't. I lied. I thought I could. It just it don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? So, questions. So, now there's a link that works. All right? So, if I were to go to Bagels New, and I were to create an empty name, but this is worth a lot of money, I can make it. And it's going to go right here with no name. I go back to index, and now it breaks because my link to doesn't work. So there's poor user experience, and I want to make sure that whenever I create this bagel, it has to have a name. I must validate the data that comes in on my server side. What I mean by server side, in case this is a little bit confusing, is everything that happens within the controller, this is your back end. Anything that happens in the views, what the user will see is the front end, right? How many of you have been, whenever you go to a restaurant, walked into the kitchen of the restaurant? Okay? How many of you think that that's normal? Better question, right? You don't see the back end, sort of the house, right? You see the front end. You see the decoration in the front, right? Like your seating, the ambiance, right? But nobody really is supposed to be in the kitchen, right? Nobody goes into the back end. So when I talk about back end, I'm talking about this. How many of you have seen the index, show, new, and create methods on the view? No, because this is the back end. This is where the logic goes. This is where all the database touching happens. And then the view is the front end. So whenever I talk about back end, I'm talking about the logic. When I talk about the front end, I'm talking about the views. All right, what the user sees is the front. What happens in the back stays in the back. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm pushing it now. So, front end and back end, yeah? Different. So, the back end is going to refer to the client side. Sorry. The back end is going to refer to the server side because you are the server, right? You are the server. We will get into front end validations, not with me, unfortunately, with my boy Andrew, when you do JavaScript. Yeah? So this is server-side validations. And where do we put those validations? In the model. Right? If you forget, right, like I did, you can always just look up validations in Active Record. So if I want to do, say for example, validate within the person some sort of attribute of name, I want to make sure that presence is true. So, and we'll do that. Bagel, right? We have a name for bagel. Yeah? So I want to validate the bagel name is always there. So let's do that. Now that that's in there, let's make a new boggle. Right? Let's go to Flavortown with nothing and cool, right? What happened? Did it make the new bagel?
Yes.
Let's try again. Like piano keys. Did it make the new bagel? So, what is happening here? It's doing exactly what you tell it. And that is, it is going to try to make a new bagel, and then it redirects. So, let's jump into this. Yeah? I, again, am going to go to Boggles New. I'm going to fail in my naming. I'm going to set some random price, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is my password. And then I'm hanging here. So I'm going to check the buy bug. What happened when I tried to do this? What happened? It began the transaction, And then it said rollback. And then the name was blank, the price took, but created at, updated at, and ID are nil, which means what in regards to whether or not it was saved into the database? It was not saved into the database, right? It clearly says rollback transaction. It didn't finish. It didn't say committed, right? So, luckily for us, we have something here from our good friend Active Record. We could check the errors. It looks like the message here is that the name can't be blank with details of the error that it's blank. This is not exactly super readable, so I can say, whoa, hey, errors, what are the full messages that are happening? And it's going to return to me an array that says what those errors are. Gina, you have a question, or are you just stringing something together? No, it's cool. Who understands this? Did I lose anybody? On just add errors. This only exists if this happens. I cannot call dot errors if this does not happen. Sean.
Where does that error array get generated? Does it get generated through the validations?
Through the validations, through Active Record. If I try to attempt to save it to the database and it fails, an error will generate into the model, and it will come back, and I can ask for its full message. I must attempt to save. Chris?
Can I see the validation code model?
You want to see it? Yeah. A little bit of Monica by my side. I validates with an S, with this sweet S. The name, that's the attribute I want. The present's true. Now, what if we wanted, however, to validate a number? Rails has a solution for that. It's called numericality. Bloop. And so, under numericality, I can validate that it's only an integer. Even though I have the price as an integer, something interesting happens. Let's continue. All right. Let's go to Bagels New, and let us put in A. Okay. I should have made it a text field. Actually, I'm going to be really grimy. Shh, don't do this at home, kids. All right, A. Hacksaws. And I send it over. All right. Notice how I just literally can send something to the server by doing this. Hacks. Right? Is this good enough validation to be like, oh, it has to be an integer? By just simply putting this as like a number field. No. So let's see what comes up on the back end. Price of A. Weird. Let's create these bagel params. Let's see what comes up. Price 0. Interesting. Very weird. So there are ways around things, but we want to make sure we validate them, right? But what if we wanted to validate something, not just whether or not it's an integer, which we can probably do. Let's do that. All right. And is our attribute called games played? What is our attribute name? Right? I want to make sure that for this, notice, what does this end with? So this must tell me that in the price attribute, I have a key and a value pair. Right? So in the numericality for price, I can probably pass in a key value. I can probably pass in another key value. I can pass in multiple attributes for my validation. So let's see what else I want to validate. Boop, boop, boop. I think there's like, yeah, like greater than. I spelled that wrong. Huh? Boom.
Oh no.
So, games, Sean. Games. Hulkamania. It's back. So, under numericality, I totally missed it because I didn't read the docs. I can, in fact, specify more things. I can do something like greater than or equal to, or I can do less than or equal to, right? Specifies value that must be less than or equal to. So let me put, let's just for funsies, greater than or equal to. Look. Whoa. Greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to 0. Let's try. Now, I can start. I'm pressing C for continue as opposed to exit, which will like kill me out of the server. So if I wanted to put this price was actually minus $100, what would happen? Let's find out. Bleep. Look up, look up, look up. Right? So what are my errors? Price must be greater than or equal to 0. Yeah? So I can add multiple options for my validations. Cool. Now, yeah?
Sorry.
No, please.
Since some of the validators seem to evolve, seem to take a block, you write your own validators depending on the.
Absolutely. And I will get to that in a little bit, yeah? Yeah? Cool. So, it comes out as an array. Remember I showed you last time I can always check the class? Right? Just to make sure. Whoop, there it is, right? So, therefore, I can probably do something like this. In my controller, right, if this is successful, if, right, at bagel, remember, I should hit it again. Right? Yeah. And then minus 1. They gave you $1 to buy this bagel because it tastes so good. Right? I can do at bagel. I can check to see if it was valid, if it in fact persisted and saved into my database. And it did not.
In some of the examples they gave, they have a different syntax where they do, like for instance here would be add bagel.new bagel params, and then they do if bagel.save, then, so is there a reason you prefer to do a creation and then the logic on validity?
Yes, the question is, right, do I want to do create and then check to see if it was valid, or do I want to do new and check to see if it saved? No difference. I like this, mo beta, personal preference. Good question.
So would we also be able to do bagel.new and then if bagel.valid save it?
Yes, that is more code, which actually arguably makes it a little bit more readable. However, this is just as effective and just as readable. But you can do that.
Let's say it failed, can you also render else, render new? Yeah.
That's exactly what we're going to do,
Okay.
right? So if it's valid, I want to actually go there, right? Now, however, if it's not valid, what do I want to do? I want to render what? Yeah, I think it's like this. Right? Yeah, sorry. I was looking for something. Cool. Yeah? So let's try it. Bloop. I'm hanging. I just pressed C. Other typed it. Mega bless. Cool. Bloop. And no price, right? Because did I ask that it must be integer? Actually, you know what? Let's just do this. I'm just gonna create this bagel, right? What should I see if it's not valid?
Should you see the flash? We have to do the flash, right?
No. What should happen?
Stay there.
She's gonna come back, right? Meaning my routing is working, right? I'm just gonna re-render this, right? Bloop. It persists, right? This persists here. That's what you're asking about, right?
The form core field is semi-automagical in that it has the field of errors class model with all fields that are errors returned.
No, it's not. It's not that automatic. No. It is, but it's not good. And I'll show. I'll explain. So, what I want to see is I want to see a list of all my error messages, right? I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Flash Gordon. The problem is, what is the difference between render and redirect? Yes. If I create bagel, that's exactly correct. And I hit this. You don't actually see it here. I'll just get rid of this. It should not give me a full reload. It's just going to reserve up my new. As opposed to if I round trip, there's more that comes out.
So it redirects, reloads the entire page, render, just re-render.
It just serves it right up. There is a difference. So the problem is, all right, the issue is if I render and I do something like at errors equals to at bagel.errors.full messages, I am then going to have to do in my new, all right, at errors equals to, sorry, dot each do with the E. Boop, 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 boop. All right, I just want to see the error message. Okay. Okay. That wasn't fun. Okay, so here's what happened. Apparently I have no errors. So I need to protect that, and I need to do if at errors, then do this. Yeah? I want to first see if they exist. Otherwise, if they do exist, show them all. Sorry. Here, cool. That totally worked, right? Now, if I were to go to new again, it's not good.
Isn't it with edit that it saves it?
Yeah, it's with edit. Right now, new works. I'm trying to like demonstrate something. We'll do it with edit. Here, ready? What do we know about edit and show in terms of the form? They look the same, right? Cool. We have an edit route. What do we need to do for edit?
We already have to add.
And so what should we do? Yeah? You are 100% correct.
Yeah, we should find an edit. That was the test.
It wasn't, but glad you caught it though.
Oh, it wasn't?
I mean, it was. So smart. So smart. Come on, the foresight rather. What happens on the edit, on the update? What do we want to do now? All right, probably something like this. Redirect to, I'm sorry, render edit. Yeah? I think that's the only change. So far, so good? Cool. So now I need to go to one, if I want to. Huh?
Everything. I need to start.
Oh, I see. Now if I were to go back here, oh, it's gonna be a new one. I'm trying to show something.
What if you refresh the page?
Yeah, it's gonna redirect to the show though. Oh, okay, that's what it is. All right, so when you edit, right, when you render, it changes the path. Right? Like, so like that's why I have to keep typing this cool guy smooth thing in there. Oops, that was weird. Can't believe it found that. Find by, like a champ. If I leave the render in and I do update, it will change this URL on the render. If I redirect to edit bagel path, and I were to go to edit, and I were to hit update bagel, it will keep the path.
So we should do that, we should redirect.
We should be using redirect. The problem is, on the redirect, that's the problem it solves. On the redirect, none of the error messages come up. Did you see that? So the reason we want to redirect is because based on the routes. If I show the edit page, right? If I just serve up edit, it's going to give me this. But I need to redirect to the edit bagel path because I want it to keep the URL. Does that make sense at all? Just, I'll like hang out for questions. That was like really
Why do you want to keep the
trippy.
URL? Is that for like workflow? It's not really user experience.
When you show the edit page and then you create it, it will attempt to show the bagel. So it'll drop off the edit. But I needed to redirect to the edit path if it didn't work. Yeah.
So, but what about your error messages?
Yes. The problem is I needed to, right, redirect to the edit path. But if I do a redirect, right, and Mar was very wise, and I did not do a render, render does not give me a new request. So when I submitted and it reserved up the the edit, all the errors are there. It just shows it. It sends it back, and this will exist. The problem is, on the redirect, it is a new request, and therefore, the @ errors for my bagel will no longer exist. I need to be able to pass that in to the next request. So something we've been learning is that HTTP requests are like stateless, right? They don't know much about the previous request, except there's something called sessions and cookies, which I will go over next week. But there's a way to pass in something through that session so that the state will transfer over to the next request. And that state that I'm looking for are the error messages. I want the error message to persist on the new request.
So for our purposes, by our purposes, I mean not failing the test on Friday. That's all I really care about. Do we put render edit or redirect to edit name path?
You should do redirect.
You should do redirect, then we're going to lose the errors.
And I'll fix that for you.
Okay.
Does that mean we should also do redirect with the create?
Yes.
But then how do we do the errors?
What's the new again? New bagel path?
I thought in the fault tag you can keep the names on you can keep the error the input.
You can. I'm not going to go over that.
Not over that.
No. You can if you want to. I'm not going to go over it though.
Because in that case you can use method. That's what I thought. But if you have the fault tag
Notice how when I change this, right, the path remains, but it does not save the blanks. It goes back, right? It's because I'm not re-rendering. There's a way to do it. It's not that serious. It's not important.
because I know in the readme there was something like that.
I agree, and it's there. It's not that serious. Yeah? So, I want to solve the problem of my errors going to the next request. Right? That make sense? So, what we can do here is on the edit bagel path, it's going to hit what? It's going to hit edit. So I want to make sure that when it hits edit, I have data from the last request. And that is something, we have a hash called flash. Huh? Yeah, thank you, thank you. Flash will persist the state for one request. One and only one. Yeah? So if this new hash, right? Let's try this. Has it. I think it's like flash. Yeah. It's something called the flash hash. Right? And here, in my edit, I have something called the flash hash, which was passed in from the last request. And it's, the flashes are here. Right? So in this flash hash, I can ask for the error hash. And now I get an array of the error messages from the last time. In my next request.
Does it also hold on to the parameters that were passed in even if they weren't valid? Because it's holding on to the data of the errors.
No, see, like literally in params, I got nothing.
Okay.
So you
Good
still
question.
write the error message in your view or no?
Yes, you do have to change it now, because now in the edit view, instead of at errors, I need to change it to what? So, if that is true, I'm going to get rid of the by bug. Where are you? Right? In theory, I should see the error. But on a new request, because it lasts only one, it will be gone. Again, last one, And on the refresh, it disappears. Because Flash only lasts one extra request. So here, I make a new request. And then when I click refresh, that's another request. So it only lasts for one.
Yeah. In the Learn Lab, we were taught a pretty different way
Mm-hmm.
of putting those errors up. I mean, I guess the value of this is a lot less code, but is there a reason that we're doing it two separate ways versus the way, I guess the curriculum?
The curriculum shows you what I just showed you, and that's at error, but it doesn't solve the problem of when I submit, it redirects me to a different URL and a different route, and that's not a good user experience. I should be redirecting right back to the edit if it doesn't work.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
So in the labs, they also showed obviously like a different way, less efficient way of doing it. But is there a way in Flash to also highlight the field that is getting the error message?
Say again?
Is there a way to highlight the field that is getting the error message with Flash?
Yes. There is something else, so we can look up Flash. Did I look up Flash yet? Flash Garden. I think I should check the Rails guides. This one. Jump to Flash. Flash. The Flash. There's something called notice that you can do. And then you can go to the Flash hash, and then you can render it if you wanted to. All right. I go over a lot of this. I'm going to put out a student-facing README that's going to go over this, right? So I know Janai asked for it. So here you are, right? This is a bagel shop, right? Planted the seed. You can do self.errors. This is for your model validation. Now, you can, in fact, do something, right, if it's valid, right? If you want to do this, you can do it the long way. And then you can do flash notice bagel created. And you can redirect to the bagel path. Right? And the notice will just come out on the other end. It's wild. Cool. So there's a lot of things to Flash. This README is pretty extensive. So if you have any questions on it, let me know and I will add to it. But it is basically lunch. I did promise to show one thing, and that is the delete. Do I need a view page for delete? No, I just need to essentially hit the route for delete, right? Because in my destroy action, I'm going to do what? Right? And then a redirect to what? Right? This is going to be the index with the S, right? Bagels path, all the bagels, right? So basically I need to come here, destroy it, send it right back. There shouldn't be necessarily a specific view for delete. So I need to hit this route. There are multiple ways to do it. In my index, for example, I can do, oops, it's a daisy. I can do like a button tag, because the button tag will give me what? In my button tag, I can do a specific method with a specific route, right? Sorry, I'll give you guys some extra time after lunch. Say again?
So I wasn't saying that.
Very good. So, this isn't super helpful. I gotta go to the Rails guides. Ugh, ridiculous. All right. There's a way with the button tag. I don't want to just like spit it off memory. This doesn't make sense. But remember, I just need to hit the route. So the easiest thing for the route is with this link to. Okay, here's the button tag, whatever. Boop, boop, boop. All right, I have a link to, right? I could literally pass it body options. Let me give you the Rails guides. So much better. They're more readable. Where's link to? I can literally tell it where to go, what to display, the controller I want to hit, and then ultimately the method. Or I could pass it a route.
Where do you delete bagel path?
Hmm?
What about just button 2?
You could do button 2, right? Button tag, label, doesn't matter. But I want to do a link to, right? This is what I want to display, right? Displaying on the browser. Anyways, that's what's going to display. What comes next? The actual path, right? And what path is that? I need to hit this delete path. Remember, this look the same. So if I go to the bagel path, head's in the wrong place, right? And I pass in the bagel, I can also specify, right? What's the difference between this? The verb, right? I could specify the method, and I want it to be delete. I think this is the way. No, it's not a hash. It might be like this. I think it's like this. Yeah, that looks about right. Right? Because this is going to be the exact same route, and then I can force it to go to a specific verb, right? I can even do get if I wanted to. Little post action, little sneaky patch, right? Up to you, but that will in fact hit it.
Would the format for button 2 be the same?
Button 2 is slightly different,
Or button tag? Because like,
but it's
that
almost
would
exactly the
be
same.
just like making displaying on the browser a link.
Correct.
So, because I know a lot of, like, on a lot of sites it may be a button delete, but.
So remember, this is a link now.
Were those interchangeable the way you did like method and get after the path? Could you do, method delete before the path? Would that work also?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Okay.
Let's make a new bagel. Right? And this one's going to be called Mike's Bagel. How much is this?
20.
Damn. Okay. All right. Whoops. Sorry. All right. Cool. And you want me to switch these?
Yeah.
Sure. And we can do whatever you like. I don't know. I'm literally testing. No. It likes it in that order. So, boop, 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 boop. Does anyone need me to go over this again?
You don't have to specify a bagel path, you can just put a bagel yourself. You don't have to use a path.
I can really, if I wanted to go super hard in the paint, I can do, and I can just interpolate the bagel ID. Because I'm just hitting the route. That's all I'm doing. I'm passing in a route, but I have a helper for it.
What about just the bagel word sound? The bagel word.
What about delete bagel?
Bagel, just bagel.
Yeah, bagel.
Yeah, I didn't want to confuse you, but this should work.
What about delete bagel path?
What about delete bagel path? That there is no helper for delete. You could create one if you wanted to. Okay, so. Cool. Thanks for your time. It is.